Hey there, fellow citizen of the internet. Welcome to the Moses Kabandana Podcast. Today I have with me Blaqamore, and the conversation is going to be all about health, fitness, and how to approach it. Welcome to the Moses Kabandana Podcast, Blaqamore.
Thanks for having me, man.
Okay, thanks. It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. So right off the bat, man, fitness is a very huge giant umbrella, right? And there's a lot of things that fall under fitness. Right before we hit record, you mentioned not just physical fitness but also the fitness of the mind. What's your story as far as fitness, as far as like your relationship with fitness goes?
Yeah, so if we go back more than 7 years ago, I was almost 100 pounds heavier than what you see today. My blood pressure was very hypertensive, 170 something over 100 something. I was pre-diabetic. Both my parents have diabetes, so I was being told at the time it was genetic. And I actually had higher cholesterol, elevated cholesterol since I was like 19. And when I was 19, I was skinnier then than when I am now. Like I would have thought I was healthy. I was always told I
Okay.
could eat whatever and not gain weight, but that caught up to me a little bit later on in life.
Yeah, yeah,
So, but I actually struggled with my weight for almost 5 years before it clicked. And I think what clicked is I had a child and I learned about how high my blood pressure was. First, I was just big. I didn't really have a big incentive, I guess, to lose the weight. But once I learned my blood pressure was very high, and there was already people around me who were passing away from health issues, which I wasn't used to. It just really take it seriously. And at that point, I was able to lose just pretty much 60 pounds in 60 days. I checked my blood pressure at the time, never needed any medicine to get it to where it needed to be. And I was so high off of that. I would, I would share my story and stuff on social media. People would ask if I was a
yeah.
personal trainer. I'd be like, no, because I didn't know what I didn't know about exercise. Plus, it was primarily the that got me there. But after a while, I kept getting asked about it. I said, well, let me help some people and really get more involved. And it kind of grew from there. And now today I'm coaching. And something I learned, not just with myself, but with others, how you approach it and how you deal with things mentally, that's going to be the main thing about how it's going to dictate your appetite. It's going to dictate your energy. And now I focus a little bit more on that than just telling you to eat some.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, man, 60 pounds in 60 days. Oh, that's a lot of weight to shave off. That's a very good segue into going from one extreme to another. Let me expand on that a little bit. Typically, whenever you go from one extreme to another within a very short period of time, there's a lot of pain involved in that. And for me, it is usually an indication that I have overcorrected on something. So, for example, it takes a lot for me to gain weight, and so if all of a sudden I can maintain weight relatively fine, but then if all of a sudden I drop 5 to 10 pounds, I'm like, okay, what else is going on in my life? What, like, am I stressed? Am I like what's happening for me to go from a buck 40 to a buck 35 or a buck 30 that fast? Something is
Mm.
not good. So what I'm trying to get to is when you dropped 60 pounds in 60 days, how did that feel? I mean, that's yeah, that's a lot of weight to lose as far as I mean how much you feel in your body, right? And how much the variation in your clothing and how you eat and everything. So take it away. How did that feel?
Well, it felt great. And it also wasn't like my focus. My number one focus was fixing my blood pressure. The weight came
Okay.
off as a side effect. I was getting on the scale every day, and I was losing like a pound a day, just about. But my real focus was the blood pressure, and so I didn't really care as much. I mean, I did care, was happy, and then it was a point in time I remember I was able to get dressed without sweating. I hadn't done that in some years,
Yeah.
so that felt great. Um, really, it felt great both physically, and I didn't have too much of a mental feeling yet until I seen my blood pressure. Like I don't know if you had checked my Instagram, if you see the very first post on there, smiling like this, wearing all black. That was like the day. I found out my blood pressure had normalized, and that was also the day I realized, dang, I lost like 60 pounds in 60 days. I weighed 211 that day, coming from 270.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
so
Okay.
it was great. It was and it didn't feel because also I didn't deal with weight issues all of my life. It was just the few years prior to that moment. So in my
Mm,
mind, I thought that's how it worked. Like I wasn't like, oh man, I lost a whole bunch of weight a lot. I thought that was like normal because I didn't have any experience losing weight before, just gaining weight because I was skinny. But it, it
yeah.
felt
Yeah.
it felt the whole experience felt new though, as far as trying to eat differently. Like I'm eating foods I hadn't ate before. I'm developing taste for foods I didn't have before. And it was kind of like a game because I would say, okay, how perfect can I eat my next breakfast? How perfect can I
Mm.
eat my next lunch? So I know I'm not ashamed of it. I know I gave all of my effort to try to heal myself through this food. And just, I guess that process kind of became where I'm at today.
Okay. So a quick side question. Any
Hmm.
haters in this process? As you went from, you said 270, right, to about to 211. Uh, did certain people come up to you and be like, "Hey, you losing weight? Like, what's going on? Good thing, bad
Uh,
thing, trying to discourage you, or nah, not really?"
Not yes and no, not really. I mean, those who's closest to me, no. But sometimes if I go out and about, because the main thing I may get hate or flag about is part of this process was I went vegan. I'm vegan today, or have a vegan diet, I should say. So
Okay, that did it. That did it. Okay.
yeah, so it's like, oh, I'm like, oh, eat some meat, man. I would get that here and there.
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess I just cared so much about having my blood pressure right. I didn't even notice it until I kind of got where I needed to go, and then it was, dang, why y'all hate me so much? But then I also realized once I started being more vocal about it, I was even kind of coming off as those passionate vegans, like y'all don't need to be eating this, and this is what you need to be doing. And then I kind of realized I don't like people like that in other areas of life, so I kind of worked on my own personality, did some upgrading myself. So once I did that upgrade within myself, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're still around, but I guess I just don't notice it because I don't look for it like that.
Okay, okay, okay. That's you touched on two very good things there, which is one, typically when we find something that dramatically transforms our lives for the better, we want to
Hmm.
share it with the world. I mean, we really just want
Yeah,
to like this thing changed my life. So like me not sharing it is a disservice to that one person that wants to hear it, right? Or that 20 or that 40, right? But then you can also overcorrect, right? So in this case, you became a vegan and then that thing like really helped transform the way that you live health wise and everything. So you want to share it. But then yeah, the downside to that is then you become that vegan, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. How do you think that uh you could have achieved the same results without being vegan?
Looking back, I do now. At first, I didn't. So, like I told you, when I started coaching, I was getting like 50-50 results in my clients. Half of them get the results they wanted, the other half will fall off just like everybody else. And I was like, how is this happening, right? Because that wasn't good enough for me at least. So I go back into my own journey again. Like, okay, it was just something maybe I missed that I was doing differently. And one thing that I was doing was so like my transformation happened in the spring going into the summer. So
Okay.
barbecues and stuff is outside now, right? I'm getting invited to barbecue,
Hmm.
good food and stuff ready.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't have the ribs like I used to if I'm going to be on this lifestyle, right? So
Right, right.
I would literally sit, close my eyes, and just visualize and practice resisting the foods that I don't need to be having. I would literally sit and like visualize and just meditate on what I'm working towards and why am I doing this to begin with? Why is this important? Why is this
Yeah.
bite of rib not worth it? And I really put a emphasis on that, a real focus on that. So I was like, so maybe it's more of my mindset, or I don't even like saying mindset. It's like a buzzword, say mental fitness, but maybe it's more of how I approached it as opposed to just knowing what to eat. And then because you can look on the internet, I like something I like to do because you know how the algorithms work. You get stuck in the echo chamber. Sometimes I'll create a dummy social media account and just go like all the things that I don't like in real life, just to see the other side and a fair version of it. And and I'll see. the
Mm.
carnivore diet working for some people. I'll see keto working for some people. And then so, is there anything that we all have in common, perhaps, despite the diet being different? And then we come right back to 9 times out of 10 is how we approach it. It's a mental fitness aspect. So now I'll focus on that
Mm.
more. So if you want to get in shape eating a whole bunch of pork bellies, then if it can be done, it can be done. Who am I to judge that? So
Yeah.
I'm just here to help you facilitate that and get there. Because if it works, if it heals you, it heals you. There's nothing else to talk about after that.
Amen to that. Amen to that. That kind of falls in line with using the right tool for the right job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, except that in this case, the job is to be healthy, right? Physically, emotionally, and otherwise. So that's essentially like the same job, but the tools that we use work differently from one person to another, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm the type that loses weight just like that. Like I really have to think about, okay, if I want to gain weight, caloric surplus has to be at the forefront of the planning, right? Like above and beyond. But then I really have to force myself to eat a lot. So using the like weight cutting type strategies, it's just not gonna work for me because I typically have the opposite problem of the vast majority of people. Not
Yeah.
good, not bad. It just is. That's just how it is. And yeah, so if I were to be, I love meat, so I don't think I'd ever go vegan. But if it seemed that going vegan was would allow me to gain weight a lot faster, actually, not just faster. This is something that I want to ask you about is sustainability, right? But remind me if I forget it. But yeah, so it's like I wanna use the right tool for the right job, essentially, and that's what you're saying. It's like you try to systematically approach this from the standpoint of, okay, this worked for this client to gain weight or to lose weight. This did not work. What gives? What gives? So and you're saying that it's a mindset thing, and yes, it is a buzzword, but it's for sure mindset plays a major role. So when it comes to how you approach weight loss or weight gain within the confines of like long-term sustainability, right? Because if I lose 60 pounds in 60 days, that's not sustainable, right? It can be very good to get me started, right? Maybe, right? But I can't continue to lose 60 pounds in 60 days every 60 days, right?
Mm.
That's too much, too much. I cannot maintain that, right? How do you approach sustainability when it comes to helping someone lose or gain weight?
Yeah. So what I like to do, because what I did for myself, because remember, I didn't even go into it like I'm about to lose this weight super fast, right? I started with a 3-day water fast, which of course you're gonna lose weight fast doing a fast when you're not eating nothing.
What
But
is that?
during even all I did was drink water for 3 days. I didn't eat any food.
Come on, man. Come on.
All these
Come on.
new detours we got to go take, right?
Yeah.
So, but but sustainability was my number one concern because I had lost a little bit of weight before, but I would always keep bringing it back on. As a matter of fact, I started off just wanting to lose 10 pounds, and I ended up gaining 50 pounds trying to lose the initial 10 pounds. That's how bad of a cycle I was in.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
what I did was I sat down. I said, okay, I'm about to make a list of all the foods that I enjoy eating, healthy or not. I'm just gonna make a list. And I spent really weeks doing this. It started with the fast, and I did it for weeks. Then I would go back
Mm.
through the list. Okay, now these list of foods, which of these foods can I still afford to eat? Which one of these foods is going to still get me to my goal? And I'm only going to eat those foods, and I'm cutting out everything else. Because if I like these foods, I should look forward to eating them since I enjoy them. Not foods that I tolerate, but foods
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
actually like. I actually like pistachios and cashews. I actually like the veggie bowls from Chipotle. These are foods I actually like, and they actually get me to where I'm trying to go.
Yeah.
So and essentially is a whole food diet. It's whole food vegan, but it's whole food diet. And since that's what it changed to, so it's a combination of only whole foods. So I'm getting way more fiber and protein than I ever got before. So I'm being able to get fuller much quicker. Plus, coming off of a 3-day water fast, where your stomach kind of shrinks a little bit anyway because it hasn't eaten in 3 days. I think
Yeah.
that's what led to the initial super fast results. Because then it went on. It went on for like another 8 months. I didn't lose any weight at all until I started intermittent fasting, and then like another 30 dropped off effortlessly, and that's where I'm at now. Just period. Um, but it was right.
Okay.
I literally had to write out a plan as far as what I'm trying to get to in the process, what do I? How can I make the activities of the process enjoyable so I'm not dreading it all the time or feeling like I have to be disciplined? I still don't feel like I'm disciplined. I just found the process that works and
Okay.
make it easy,
Yeah, yeah. And
easier.
yeah. And so you've been able to reduce your blood pressure or maintain it at a healthy level, right?
Mm.
What how did that affect, this might not relate to you at all, but I suspect that it might. How did that affect your weight journey, your weight loss journey? How did that affect the people that you hang out with, if at all?
Yeah. Well, I don't. When we go to like restaurants, it ain't the same.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, it's a bunch of vegan jokes. Oh, here, you want some lettuce? It starts off funny because these was new jokes to me. I'm not used to being made fun of being. But after a
Yeah,
while, it's like, all right, it's been years now. It's the jokes is over. So that part can get a
yeah,
little annoying. But other than that, what has been happening, well, at least what I've been focusing on is sometimes I can inspire some of my friends because eventually they end up dealing with health issues of their own. Now they can see a real life example of somebody who did change it. They know it's real, and then I can get to give them some insight on how to really go about it. You can Google a meal plan. You can Google a exercise plan. You can Google. You can even Google like mindset exercises, but it's kind of different when you know the person in person and you reach out and touch them. It becomes a little more real to you. You're more likely to stick to it. And I am grateful I'm able to be that for people around me because that option wasn't always available to everybody. Not in this
yeah,
genre. Like,
yeah. And so that's a good segue to my following question. It sounds like I got questions written down, but it's just these questions are coming to me as you're
yeah,
speaking. There is often a big distance between a conceptual understanding of something and the implementation of that thing, right? So let's say I want to lose 10 pounds, right? Or I want to gain 10 pounds. Okay, I sit down with a coach and they're like, hey, okay, you're gonna need to cut down on this, cut down on that, or eat more of this and more of that, and I need you to hit the treadmill, 15 minutes a day or X, Y, and Z. So I got the whole plan laid out, right? But the actual implementation of that plan, hey, that's a whole different story.
whole
Can you
different
touch
story.
on that? Can you touch on
Yeah,
that?
it's simple. I want to even say it's easy, but I
Hmm.
don't.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm ready to die on that hill yet. But what I will
Yeah,
say
yeah,
is
yeah.
this: everything we do because we feel like it, and if we don't do it, it's because we didn't feel like it. So it's really the real game is figuring out and reminding yourself how to feel like it. The moment you feel like being healthy, you're healthy, right? So like a lot of times people they'll maybe watch some inspiring healthy YouTube video. They're like, you know what, I'm about to do this meal plan. They go grocery shopping. They get all the dark leafy greens and the fruits and vegetables. They put it in their fridge because they feel like it. They make their smoothies. They proud they had their smoothies. They ate their chicken Caesar salad for dinner, right? 2, 3 days go by. They don't really feel like it anymore. They go back to eating the other stuff. And now the food in the refrigerator done rotted because you didn't get to it in time, because you got too much of it. They forgot what inspired them in the first place. They forgot why it was important to them. They forgot why they was inspired. And when I say forgot, it's like, I don't know if there's really technical terminology for it, but I'm just calling it like they biologically forget. Like we can know in our brain, like yeah, I know I need to do better. But when your whole like physiology changes, it's a little different. Like if I was to Like if I got down on the ground and did 30 push-ups right now, I'm gonna feel different. I'm gonna feel more motivated. Endorphins is going on in my body and things like that. So mastering your body, knowing how to trigger that, knowing what what quotes even get you thinking. It's
Yeah.
things like that to just remind you to feel like how you need to feel to do what you need to do. And when you feel like it feels more effortless.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. In a sense, you're pointing out the fact that when you are already predisposed to do something, like you already want to do something. You don't have to be convinced to do something. There's less friction in actually doing it, right?
Mhm.
That is slightly different from building a habit, right? So I like to think of it in terms of if I'm gonna do something that is difficult, right? Because most of these things we don't really want to do. I mean, I want to lose weight or I
Yeah.
want to gain weight, But damn it, I don't want to like hit the treadmill. I don't want to run. I don't want to lift weights, right? I might feel inspired to, right? But inspiration is it comes and goes just like with the wind, right? So like if I watch a documentary or something by Arnold Schwarzenegger or David Goggins or something like that, and I get fired up, right? And then I go run or hit the gym 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, maybe tops, and that inspiration, kind of dwindles away. So then I have to rely on something other than inspiration. I have to like for the next 6 months, 9 months, because you've been on this journey for is it 7 years, you said, right?
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Inspiration can get you started for sure. It ain't gonna be the thing to carry you through 7 years, right? So I think having a personal coach, having someone that you can look up to, having a guidance of sorts plays a major role in that, right? But at the absence of personal guidances, so like basically what I'm trying to get to is what are some practical tips for the average Joe and or Joanne, right? That does not like the term of a personal coach is not even in their vocabulary. How do they approach losing weight or gaining weight sustainably across time without because there's just too much information out there on the internet, right? Just you don't know what to follow, you don't know everybody's
Yeah.
suggesting all kinds of different things, and so how does someone siphon through all of that and yeah.
Know how to find an inspiration within yourself. And how you do that is this. So remember when I told my story, I said I had my first child, and that's when I learned to have the high blood pressure, right? Now, I'm somebody whose dad wasn't in my life as much as I would have liked him to be. And that's a cycle I wouldn't have liked to have repeated. My blood pressure is high. People around me, around closer to my age, are passing away. How can I be there for my daughter if I have a heart attack and not there? That's a why. I'm writing that down. I'm meditating on that day and night. I don't need David Goggins to, for me no more because that we all have that, right? There's some like moment of change where you sitting like, I had enough of being like this. I got to change, and we all have that. And so you have to make the stakes high, right? You got to raise the stakes. That's and when you find your why, like everything, and I believe everything great ever. If you talk to the founder of that company or you talk to the whoever created it, they had a hell of a why, like why they was doing it. And what I found is, first of all, with some clients, you could spend like sometimes months just trying to find the why. Cause sometimes the why is it could be a painful why, like it could be hidden behind trauma. A big reason that got me focusing more on mental fitness than just telling people to do squats and deadlifts and eat broccoli. I discovered a study that said they had two groups of people. One group, they put them with personal trainers or whatever, and the other group they just had therapy. The group that just had therapy lost more weight than the group with the personal trainers, and the personal trainer profession is helping people lose weight.
Mm,
So
mm, yeah, yeah.
what's the fundamental reason here, right? And then especially like, and the more I learned about food and how a lot of food isn't food, I would constitute it as a drug because they're not nourishing. They're created in the lab, and the primary objective is the bottom line. So is that food or is it something else? How come we don't feel nourished after we eat that? Why do we want to eat more of it? So maybe that's just drugs. It's an acceptable drug because you'll get shunned for sniffing cocaine or doing crack or even smoking weed, but there's not too much shame in having a bowl of macaroni and cheese. There's not too much shame in eating cookies. That's very acceptable. So
Yeah.
I kind of been going all over the place. I even forgot your original question, honestly.
Nah, nah. Nah,
Hopefully,
nah,
I
you're
answered
good.
along this journey. But it's really the establishing the why, and really, because another thing I noticed, really sit down and visualize that person that you're working towards, because that's something else I learned. Like even today, when I may get on a call like this to prospect for a new client, some of them literally cannot imagine them losing the weight they want to lose or being that person. And it's typically them who go on to stay where they're at forever. It's
Mm,
sometimes a
mm,
lot of
mm.
work just goes into imagining it.
Yeah.
Put that image in your mind and just work backwards. Put the image in. That's what I did. What this version of me that I'm working towards do what I'm about to do right now? Yes or no? No, then don't
Right.
do it. Yeah, then do it. Hold that image and remember your why. If I can't tell y'all nothing, and the thing is, this applies with anything. This isn't just for weight loss. You know what I'm saying? You could use
Mm,
those principles for literally anything in life. Better husband or wife, entrepreneur, weight loss. If
mm,
you're
mm.
athlete, whatever you do, you can use that for that. That's just a general, I should say, success principle.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. There's I forgot who the philosopher was, but they said if you have a strong enough why, you can bear almost anyhow. Right? So the
Mm,
mechanisms to achieve that goal become almost irrelevant as long as you
almost.
have the North Star. So it lines up with
Yeah.
what you're saying. Huh. Okay. So, man. Okay. This might be like a slight tangent, but well, not really.
Off a
I'm
tangent.
I'm currently in Italy, right? And for those that know me, I'm kind of an avid traveler. I bounce all over the place, different countries and continents and whatnot. And in the States, my dude, the level of obesity that we have there is just it stands out for sure. It really stands out. So you were touching on the foods that we eat earlier. That are they foods? Question mark.
Mm.
Right, right. Um, um, why? Why do you think? Why do you think there is such a high level of obesity in the states?
Well, and maybe this is cynical. I believe pretty much everything is done for money, and it's legal drug dealing. um, the thing is, I feel like if the things I know, I feel like I probably know slightly above average information about the brain than the average person, but I don't feel like I'm a specialist or nothing. But I feel
Yeah.
like, based off of what I know about the brain, for people who really do it, and if their incentive is to make money, and they know they can manipulate the brain with something of consumption. I mean, I don't know another way we can go. It's legal drug, yeah. Because selling crack, that's illegal. They lock you up for that. Selling the heroin, selling meth, that's illegal. But selling toasters, selling Twinkies,
Mm,
we can get
mm,
away with that,
mm.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
dopamine, like you said, that's the reward neurotransmitter. It builds a habit. If they design food in a way that produces dopamine in excess and make it a habit to buy that food, and that goes under the radar so smooth that to think that becomes a conspiracy theory because you can't
Mm,
definitively
mm.
prove it. Such a
Yeah.
gray area, and that happens the most here. Even, and correct me if I'm wrong, pharmaceutical companies aren't even allowed to advertise at the levels they do in most countries on the planet like they do here. They,
Yeah.
if we're watching TV, like especially like I don't know if you have Hulu. Every time you're watching Hulu, they ask you these generic symptoms. Do you
Hmm.
sometimes feel tired? Do you blink your eyes a lot within the minute? You may need this particular, like, go. Why are you putting these ideas in their head to begin with? They was just
Right.
fine. So
Right.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
No. No. Okay. That's yeah. I think it's a multitude of things, right? The things that we eat. Um, yeah, like you might have a lot of food, but you might be malnourished, right? So just because you're eating a lot, don't mean you ain't, you're eating good stuff, right? Um, and so just to add to your conspiratorial mindset, this might not do you any good, but it's the way that I'm thinking of it is the controlled slash illegal drugs, right, are the things that are going to kill you the here and now or destabilize society here and now. Hershey's are going to kill you in about 50 years, right? So between now and those 50 years, you're going to be coming into my hospital for sugar levels, for insulin, for that. I mean, so you're still going to die in 50 years, but I'm going to milk all kinds of money out of you between now and then. Right? So I'm getting super conspiratorial here. So let's just, that's not like my cup of tea typically. So I just wanted to feed in on your on your mindset there and your thinking. Okay. So we're coming to the top of the hour here. As as we're getting close to the end, for someone like me, right, that I typically in order for me to gain weight, I really gotta put in the work. I have to sweat. I really have to sweat. So actually, in college, I did this one experiment where I wanted to see how much weight would I lose if I ran 5K every day for about, I think it was like 2 weeks or like or 4 weeks. And at the end of that time, I had gained 5 pounds. The reason is because I was eating a lot more. So because I was running 5K every day, my body was not used to putting that much cardiovascular endurance in like really fast, like out of nowhere, right? I started eating a lot more, so I ended up gaining weight by at the end of that experiment than losing weight. So the question is, have you had someone that the hard gainers, as they call them, I think, and how do you approach weight gain for a hard gainer?
Yeah, well, kind of like that. It's almost like the opposite. Like you said, running. My favorite go to is deadlifts. Because deadlifts, I don't know if you do a lot of deadlifts. I like do high rep deadlifts with them. It makes them hungry.
Okay.
So, and then the money, and a lot of muscle, a lot of weight they put on is not going to be a bunch of belly fat because you're doing something that tells your muscle like you might need to get stronger. And it's kind of the opposite. Like a lot of because most people trying to lose weight, like you did that trying to lose weight, right? You run
Yeah, yeah,
around,
yeah.
and it's not really. I'm assuming you was jogging as opposed to sprinting, so that's
Yep,
not
yep.
really demanding on muscle to be preserved. If anything, some muscle may shed away, like the skinny, slender marathon run, right?
Mm.
So I like to give them some metabolically demanding exercises to kind of get their appetite up to make that part a little more easier. But I haven't had near the experience with hard gainers as I had with the opposite. You know, due to my messaging. Well, I've been
Yep,
able to help
yep.
two people. But that's what
Okay.
I had to do. Well, the first one I didn't know what I was doing, so I just said, "Yo, just eat a
Yeah,
bunch."
yeah,
You know? But after I learned more of the exercise and study more,
yeah.
I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
try this, boom." But yeah, still mindset first. But as far as tacticals and technicals, metabolic demanding exercises at high intensity, and
Mm, mm.
usually that ramp up the appetite if you go from there.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Us hard gainers, man, we don't really get much love out here in the streets, man. It's like everybody's all about losing weight, and we just feel neglected. Man, it's all good, all good. So I yeah, to come back to the whole vegan nutrition. I
Mhm.
was, I like to joke to say like I was an accidental vegan for about a year and a half. I say that because I was in a refugee camp in Mozambique, right?
Mm.
And I mean, you ain't got much, right? So you don't come around meat that often, right? And when you do, it's a celebration. So
Yeah.
during the time there, it was all veggies, man, all veggies, beans and rice and salad and all that. And so when I think about being a vegan, I'm like, nah, man, I done did that. I, I was forced into it. I just, nah. But it is very, very true that it helps a lot of people. And I was in LA. No, not in. I was living in LA at the time, but we were shooting a film in New Mexico, and there
Mm.
were this New York cats. This dude was a bodybuilder, man. Like, stoked. Dude was jacked 6 weeks to Sunday, man. And he was a vegan. Now, every now and again, he'd get a full chicken breast, right? And just munch it out, for like a day or two. But solid vegan. And I'd be talking to him, man, like, how you get jacked like this and all you eat is greens? Now, he don't eat just greens. He knows a lot more. He's just pages and pages of annotations of what he eats, when he eats it, the quantity. I mean, just well organized. And so that's when my curiosity peaked as far as, there's really a lot more to this diet. I mean, I knew it conceptually, right? But to actually
Yeah.
see someone that does it, lives it, to the extent that he did it, I was like, whoa, there's a lot of merit in this. The thing that was turning me off to to the vegan community was the like what you said earlier. It's almost like a moral superiority finger
Yeah.
pointing type. That was okay. I was like, man, that's a huge turnoff because like even if I want to be a vegan for the not for the sake of being a vegan, but because it is a genuinely a much healthier option, right? It is presented to me from a quasi-religious standpoint, right? So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, nah. In fact, I'm just gonna go eat meat right now, in spite of you, right?
Yeah.
Just to to twist the knife. But you have a very good message, man. That is it's if it's vegan, if that allows you to have a lower cholesterol, lower excuse me, heart rate, a healthier lifestyle. You get to spend time with your kids more. You get to chase your kids around more. If that means being a vegan, if that means being what's the carnivore diet,
Mhm.
whatever diet takes you to living a longer and more fulfilled lifestyle that is sustainable. I think that's the key,
Yep.
and you can like touch on that as we come to the close. It has to be something, a lifestyle that one, you said it already, you like to eat these foods, right? And you can do that day in, day out. It's not too much of a struggle. It fits your budget. And maybe you can touch on that a little bit, like how do you eat healthy on a budget, right? But yeah, there's all kinds of different diets for all kinds of different people that are trying to achieve all kinds of different goals. So yeah, can you touch on the sustainability, right, of eating well, and then also for that person that doesn't have all kinds of money out there, how do they eat healthy but cheaply?
Yeah. So since I haven't bought meat in years, I forgot how expensive meat can be. Because everybody be like, yeah, it's expensive to eat healthy. And I'm like, how? Now, one thing I do know is sometimes people, or often, most times, people buy things that is marketed as healthy on the front of the package. The fact that it's in a package already tells you how healthy or not healthy it is. If we could just
Yeah,
start
yeah.
there, right?
Mm,
Because,
mm,
so for example, because I even did a post about this. So, like lentils, got all the essential amino acids, a lot of minerals. It's even highest in the leucine amino acid, which is really great for muscle building. $1.60 a package lasts one person at least a week, right? That's just an
mm,
example of getting very nourished and full for cheap. $1.50 to feed one person for a week. That's what $6 a month just off of that, right? And then the potatoes, you get a bag of potatoes, whatever
yeah.
your favorite kind is. Personally, I recommend Yukon Gold potatoes. A bag of that is $4 or $5. That could last one person, excuse me, a week. Very filling, very nutritious. There's people who's done like potato only diets and got much more healthier and lost weight and things like that. Potatoes, personally, I could probably live off of potatoes only the rest of my life if I wanted to. That's like my favorite food.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
get your greens like your spinach, your kale, and stuff like that. Get them frozen because when you get them fresh, you got a week max to eat them. As somebody who eats greens a lot, I don't even get to them in time all the time. Just get them frozen so you're not wasting your money.
mm,
Just frozen potatoes and beans, that alone is going to save you financially and nourish you a lot. I can't speak to everything else, but if y'all already can afford to eat meat, then just getting meat that's not fried and pre-breaded can't be that much more expensive than whole food meat. So you
mm.
shouldn't be spending no more than what you're already spending on meat. All
Yeah.
right, and then we just go to the frozen veggie section. We go to the potato section to get your complex carb in. That's really like the structure of your meals. It should be like if you eat meat, it should be that meat, the dark leafy green, and that complex carb, which is gonna be like a rice or a potato. If that's like your main dinner 90% of the time, I don't know how you can lose. I haven't seen people lose when they follow that structure. You know,
Mm, mm,
um, and it's very and the combination that complex carb mixed with whatever your protein is, and if you're vegan, maybe it's lentils. If you eat chicken and it's chicken, it's hard to not feel satiated and full after that. Like
mm,
it's
mm,
kind of difficult. And as a matter of fact, and if you still are hungry, eat more of that food. Because here's the thing: it's difficult to overeat whole foods. You'll feel sick first, as opposed to eating. You could go through. I used to eat a family size bag of Doritos and dip it in the Tostitos queso all the time, and they eat dinner after that. The
For
bag in the
sure.
queso was already like 2,500 calories, 3,000 calories right there.
Word.
How am I able to eat another 2,000 calories on top of that? Now I dare you.
Yeah.
Go eat five. Just try to make it to 500 calories of spinach alone. See how you feel.
Right. Right. Right.
By the time you get to 150, 200 calories, you feeling nauseous.
Yeah. 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 Huh. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Makes sense. One thing that we didn't touch on, which I definitely ignore, but it made itself known at the beginning of the episode. Water consumption, something that I completely ignore. I
Mm.
don't do much of. Um, can you touch on the importance of water?
Yeah, we are 70% water, especially for blood pressure. Your blood is 80% water. Uh, some clients I've had, it was simple as getting them to drink water. Then their blood pressure fell like 40 points
Mm,
off of drinking
mm,
water. And we're talking about one particular. This person didn't drink like no water at all, hardly. So, and I was like, yo, we gotta try to get to like 8 glasses a day. Let's just get to half. Let's see if you can get to 4 glasses a day. The man
mm.
got to 2.5 glasses of water, and his blood pressure dropped 40 points.
Dang.
How
Wow.
dehydrated was the person, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, is paramount. And if you're not somebody who like to drink water, I hope you're at least eating fruit because that's the other. A
Mm,
lot of these health conditions we have can be cured with these three things: fruit, water, and sunlight. Fruit,
fair.
water,
Yeah.
and sunlight. I almost guarantee if you have a chronic health condition that you're lacking
Yeah.
in one of those three areas. I can almost guarantee it. Get enough fruit, drink enough water, get enough sunlight. And yes, the more melanin we have, the more sunlight we're going to need. And
Yeah.
even for not much melanin, well, because this I don't want to make the episode too long, but even certain nutrients help you produce melanin a little bit more efficiently, so you're not as high at a risk as sun cancer for those of us who don't have as much melanin in our skin. We can produce those tans more efficiently if you get enough B6 and copper in your diet. Basically, just eat more whole foods because you'll find the correlation with skin cancer in the whole foods as well. But
Mm.
you know, just want to throw that
Okay.
out there.
Yeah, yeah, no, those are some seriously good nuggets. One time I came back from college and I told my moms, I'm like, yo, I'm just like super lightheaded for some reason, you know. And without even turning around, she's like, when was the last time you drank water? I said, thought I'm But I went and drank some water, man, and I felt so much better, so much better. And the thing is, it was starting to affect my academic performance. Believe it or not,
Yeah,
you know, I was like,
yeah,
wow. Eating and drinking water, like just having enough water in my system just made so like a night and day difference,
yeah.
right? And so I was like, wow, okay, I really need to pay more attention to it because I drink water when I'm thirsty, and so it has a lot to do with how I grew up, right? So grew up in Mozambique, like temperature never drops below like I don't know, let's say 75 degrees, right? But it's typically super hot. So I only drank water when I was thirsty. Come stateside, wintertime, it ain't hot, it ain't humid for like 6 months. It's in Michigan. What I gotta drink water for, right? So it hadn't clicked in my head, that I need to stay hydrated for the sake of staying hydrated. So yeah, you touched on a very good point of the importance of drinking water. So all right, we're gonna bring it to a close here. What if people want to learn more about you? Where do they find you?
You can Blaqamore.com, Blaqamore.com. I'm on all of your favorite social media platforms except MySpace. I'm not on MySpace if you're still on MySpace, but TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm on there. You can literally search my name. I should pop up. And if you are interested in even working with me one on one, I have a link to that application on my profile of whatever platform you find me on. It's Blaqamore, Blaqamore.
Blackamore. I don't think I ever met somebody with that name. Do you know what the origin is?
So that's my mother's maiden name, like my mother's last name. And so where I'm from, I noticed one day I walked into a store somewhere, and when they found out who I was kin of or who my mom was, oh, you a Blackamore? Oh, okay. So I just started going by that. Oh, that's little Blackamore right there. So that's my mom's maiden name. As far as what it actually means or whatever, I'm not certain. I have
Yeah.
theories, but that'll probably take a
Okay.
whole other episode.
Yeah, yeah. Dig into it. Dig into it. Hey, appreciate you coming to the Moses Kabandana podcast. Hopefully, we get to have you back again at some point in the future. It's been really an honor having you here. We learned a lot. And I'm gonna start drinking more water. So thanks for that.
Here we go. Appreciate you having me, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy Monday to you.
You too.